Peninsula here at the exhibition today. Stuart, tell us more, what's Peninsula?
Well, so Peninsula have two functions. So we're a HR and health and safety support function. So in short, what we do is we help our clients manage anything from staffing issues to having the right contracts in place. We help them with managing their rotas, their holidays, all the stuff that takes you lots of time when you're running your business. We take a lot of that and we take it off you. Yeah?
Love that.
Time back and less stress. Brilliant. And then the health and safety side, very similar. We do all your docs, all your risk assessments we do with you. So obviously in your industry, COSH is a big deal. And then we do things like your staff training on our portal, the health and safety training. And we just generally keep on top of the health and safety for you, which means that you're compliant. And if there's an accident, heaven forbid, all your ducks are in order and you're going to be safe.
And I hear I see a lot of things that they call you as soon as there's a problem. First thing, they're straight on the phone to you.
Yeah.
And I believe you've got quite a few DCBN members now, haven't you?
Yeah, I'd say so. Over the last year or so, maybe 25, 30 plus DCBN members of all sizes. So Louise, some of my clients have got 2 or 3 staff. Some of my clients have 20 or 30 staff and sort of everywhere in between. I'd say maybe 30 plus over the last year. So I've learned a lot about cleaning in the last year. So HR, health and safety is my area, but I look after businesses in lots of different sectors. But because I have so many clients now in this one area, I fully understand maybe I don't fully understand, but I understand some of the challenges that you're up against, and obviously at the moment one's recruitment, isn't it?
It is. There's a big problem with recruitment at the moment. So, but you were saying actually one thing that people have brought up an awful lot while talking to you here at the exhibition is long-term sickness.
Yeah.
So why is that becoming a bit of a problem at the moment?
Well, it's always been a problem. A lot of sickness is genuine. We know that.
We don't always believe it, do we?
Yeah, and some isn't genuine. The issue that you can have sometimes in cleaning is if you've got a staff member that's on, say, 16 hours a week, and they're making 150, 160 quid a week, roughly. If that person then goes on sick, and they're over the lower qualifying amount of 100, 120 pounds, but they're getting 95 pounds a week or roughly to be
worth it for them to go sick,
to be at home, So look, as I say, most sickness is genuine, but when you do get someone that wants to swing the lead a bit, and they can be at home on just slightly less money than what they're worth from coming to work, then that can be a problem. And I find that some not just cleaning companies, but business owners, they think that they're untouchable because this individual has maybe brought a sick note in for stress or anxiety or depression. Then what do? I don't touch it. So we come across this all the time. Clients of ours, one thing that they want us to do is to help them reduce costs around HR. So, effective management of things like absence and lateness are really important. So in terms of sickness, even if someone does have a protected characteristic, such as,
pregnancy, we get a lot.
Pregnancy, or if someone is linking their absence to mental health, which could be covered under the Equalities Act, it's not always, but it can be, then that person has what we call a protected characteristic. Does not mean, though, that we can't take action, to try and resolve that. So, quite often with a client of ours, we'll move that staff member through what we call a medical capability process, which at the end of that can result in that person leaving the employment of the cleaning company. So we certainly don't leave somebody on the sick, for 6 months claiming their statutory sick pay, and then, if they stay employed actually even after that date, they accrue holiday allowance for up to 18 months.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, so that's current case law. So so again, being an employee, it can be a little bit scary. What if they go off sick? Do I need to pay holidays? All that sort of stuff. Well, that's what we help our clients with day to day.
And what I know a lot of our members love is that they pick up the phone to you.
Yeah.
And we want a real person to be answering the phone, and you get bombarded, don't you?
Well, yeah. So DCBN members that use us, they can access me. So I'm their account manager, so they can phone me for advice. But we also have an advice team. It's 24 hours a day. We encourage members to use just 1 or 2 people, so you don't have to use lots and lots of different people. and then that means you'll build up a relationship with that person. They'll get to know you, you'll get to know them, and that's the way it should be. So yeah, they can speak to me. I might be driving. I can give you the advice. I can't maybe make a record of it, so phone the advice line. But if you can't get through to them, which you will, yeah, you can phone me.
So don't phone you.
No, you can phone me.
Okay, so at the moment then, the pandemic's caused quite a lot of differences for you. Quite a lot's changed, hasn't it? From well, has it changed in HR? Because we have faced a lot of different challenges in the industry.
Yeah.
What's changed from your point of view?
So, in terms of HR over the last year, HR and health and safety are quite closely knitted together. So you might have somebody refusing to come back to work, based on COVID. We had that a lot over the last year. So you've got a health and safety issue they're raising that's actually immediately becomes an employment law issue. So it's good that members have got their health and safety and their employment law together in one place with us and not with two separate companies, because the two do speak to each other. But what's changed? Legislation was changing weekly in terms of COVID. So it was
really fast.
So either HSC were making changes to guidance, or it might be Public Health England, or Boris has made an announcement, but there's no meat behind it, and then clients will ring us and go, "What's that mean for me?" And then what we'll do is try and decipher this new information and make it into easy to understand policies and procedures. Yeah.
And that's what I like. You take a policy and you tell us how to actually apply it. And I love your webinars because you really do make it simple for us.
Yeah, I love doing them. They're really good. So yeah, I believe we've got one coming up as well in a few weeks' time. But yeah, the webinars are a good way for me to be able to focus on one subject and then just get that subject, in a 45-minute sort of capsule, and then load it onto the website. So yeah, there's more to come.
Oh, fantastic! Do you know what the next one is? Or do you know what your topic is?
The next one I've been asked to do on how to employ young people. So we're going to talk about their young person's contracts, and then things like risk assessments around employing people that are a little bit younger. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I look forward to that. Yeah. Might have to change some of my policies after that one.
Maybe.
Sure. What do you think the next year is going to bring?
Oh, it's hard to say, isn't it? I mean, this last year has been like the lost year, hasn't it? It just seems to have gone like that. So, I mean, I know that we're forecast a bit of a boom. Apparently so. It's just been revised down, I heard on the news the other day, but apparently we're going to be moving from strength to strength. I know the government say that, if you can believe them, the government say that there's more people are in work than have ever been in work before. But again, that doesn't really help your industry.
We want to be in work.
We're all.
No.
Yeah, so where's our share of that? So I really don't know what the next year is going to be. I know that in terms of COVID, there were talking and there was rumours about potential 2-week fire break before Christmas, a 2-week lockdown fire break. That's been ruled out. We don't think that's going to happen either. But again, it just sort of shows you how important it can be to have things like temporary layoff clauses and short-time working clauses in your documentation if in future there was a lockdown but no furlough scheme, no support from the government. Yeah, so can you and do you have the right to temporarily stand people down on no pay?
So I want to know what happened, because furlough was a new concept. When it came out, Peninsula being HR just must have gone, what is this?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what we did. Apparently furlough, I've heard, was an American word that we sort of adopted, but when it all kicked off, April 2020 or March 2020, our switchboard went from 1,500 calls a day to 4,500 the day after. It was literally a jump of 3 times. And it was before the furlough scheme was announced. So all of our current clients, they were like, what do I do? We've been told to close, we have to close, but I've got all my staff that are saying, well, I won't pay in.
Yeah.
And the furlough scheme hadn't been announced. Well, all of our clients in their documentation already had layoff and short-time working clauses. So all of our clients were safe. We just said, right, we'll just enact your layoff clause, and then we stood those staff down. There's a small statutory payment for the first week, and then after the first week, there's no payment can't go on indefinitely, and it didn't, because a couple of weeks later the government announced the furlough scheme.
Days later.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
days. It's a year and a half, so it was days or a couple of weeks, that sort of time for it. But for that short time period, our clients didn't have the worry of having staff at home on full pay because they temporarily laid them off. Yeah. So that's the power of having good documentation.
All about the documentation. And
all about your docs.
This is why the DCBN provides loads, but if you want it more specialised and personalised and how to apply it to your business, it's come to Peninsula.
Yeah, it is. And just again, with us, what we do is we do a lot for you. So, bespoke letter writing, bespoke contract writing. So we tend not to do templates. In some situations, templates are useful. You're going on furlough, you're coming off furlough. But in terms of contracts, it's all done for you. Job descriptions, offer letters, handbooks, all that stuff. It's all done for you, so you can spend the time, with your families or out on cleans.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Stuart. I know your stand's been very, very busy, so I'm going to let you get back to it. But thank you for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.